President Trump seems to be mired in a number of linguistic controversies. I didn't even have time to get to this on the show. Wall Street Journal quoting the president as making this eye-opening comment about I have a good relationship with Kim Jong-un. President firing back, that's fake news. He's attacking the Wall Street Journal. He's saying, I said I would have a good relationship with the North Korean leader. I've listened to the audio several times. It sounded like I to me. That's probably what he meant. But here's another flap involving the president versus the press. And of course, the big S-hole controversy that has dominated Washington and really been a global media story for days. Well, first, the White House didn't deny it when the Washington Post reported that he had said that he didn't want any more immigrants from such S-hole countries as those in Africa, El Salvador, and Haiti, as opposed to, say, Norway. Then some of the Republicans said, well, I didn't quite hear it that way. I don't remember what I heard. And now the White House is pushing back and saying, no, what he said was S-house countries. Okay, to my finely tuned ear, I don't see a huge distinction between referring to these nations, majority black nations, as S-house, S-hole. But what I do know is that the rhetoric has gotten so poisonous over this that it seems to be endangering the deal. The whole negotiations were about making a deal on the Dreamers, the nearly 800,000 immigrants brought here illegally by their parents. They are facing deportation, and the president, in exchange for that, wants funding for his border wall with Mexico and to chain migration and some other steps. And it looked like both sides kind of wanted to do this. You know, the Democrats have made it a high priority to protect the Dreamers. The president has said encouraging things, even though he set this ball in motion by giving Congress 6 months to come up with a fix. Otherwise, the Dreamers get deported. But this is so classic Washington, which is now there's so much focus on the politics of it. There's so much focus on the rhetoric. And I'm not defending what the president said. Whatever the wording was, it sounded crude, and it has put him on the defensive. And at the same time, the Democrats seem less inclined now to want to come to some kind of compromise because their base is all riled up. And this is what happens is that passions run so high, and immigration is always, even in the best of circumstances, Bush found this out, Obama found this out, a very, very tricky and challenging issue to resolve. Now, nobody wants to give up anything. They'd rather have the issue. So if you look at the coverage lately, it's not even about the fate of the Dreamers or whether there'll be a wall. I mean, that's the backdrop. It's the subtext. It's about president's language and the outrage about it, and did he really say it, and did he use a different S word? And it's sort of Washington at its worst, and politics at their worst. And the bottom line is there may now be no deal because politics, once again, here inside the Beltway, takes precedence over a compromise. And compromise is not a dirty word. It means you give something up. You accept something you don't want in order to achieve the benefits that you do want. Unfortunately, that's becoming a lost art here in D.C.